welcome to Keiko Vision, a podcast to pump you up to change the world. Hosted by me, Jordana. Let's get started. Hi, and welcome to Keiko Vision. I'm Jordana, and I will be your host. This past week has been a challenge for me, and my thoughts have been consumed with my oldest son. I've talked before about the pressure that we put on kids, and I think it's ridiculous. We're still teaching the same way that we were teaching when I was in school, but the tools are completely different. My son is really struggling in a couple classes, and it's interesting because he has the same teacher for math and science, and he's getting an A in science, and he's nearly failing math. He knows already at 12 years old the math that he needs in everyday life. He is not going to be doing advanced algebra, trigonometry, calculus. That's not going to help him in everyday life. But what it's doing now is it's killing his confidence. Right now, he goes to a private school in Princeton, New Jersey, and I loved the mission and the vision of this school. It's focused on the boy, it's all boys, and building character and creating leaders and a just society. And I was so drawn to that we decided to switch his schools and send him there. I was lucky enough to have financial help from both the school and from grandma, and fell in love with the campus and the principles that this school stood for. As Chase started struggling throughout the school year, I had multiple conversations with the school. I could see it affecting his confidence. We talked about how much he needed a confidence boost, how much he needs just some wins, some good things to happen. And I wasn't sure if Chase should participate in sports until he could get the workload done and get his homework in and everything. But baseball is the only thing that Chase cares about. His whole life, if you ask him what he wants to do when he grows up, he will tell you to play on the Yankees. His dad had a serious injury in high school where he lost his eye. But before that, his dad was being scouted by colleges for a baseball scholarship and for a wrestling scholarship. And his dad's cousin got a scholarship for baseball, and addiction got in the way. Jeff's cousin moved around a lot. His family was trying to get him the best coaching and the best chances of him getting a scholarship, and they were successful. And I specifically did not want to do that. I don't want to put the pressure of a scholarship on Chase. I want the game to be fun for him. And so we decided to let him play in the middle school baseball team at his school. The middle school team goes from 5th grade to 8th grade, and Chase is in 6th. And I was really excited about this because the head of social emotional wellness, somewhat of a guidance counselor who had been working with Chase, was the assistant coach on this team. And I thought, wow, this is going to be great. He can try to get through to him, maybe use baseball as a way to, get him to do a little better in school. Instead of that, a school that's all about putting the boy and their needs first ruined the one thing that this kid likes. The season ended last Friday, and Chase did not play a single inning. Now, if Chase wasn't getting playtime because of his grades or because he was missing homework, I would have supported the decision 100%. But that wasn't the reason. It wasn't because Chase was in 6th grade and the starting team was a bunch of 7th and 8th graders. Both of those reasons would be understandable and explainable. Those were not the reason that was given. He was put in one time to bat, and that was it for the entire season. What makes this situation so much worse for me is that the coach played his son instead of my son. I don't think the focus at this level should be on skill alone. But if it was, they surely should have put the kid who knows how to play the position and has the physical ability to do it. The coach's son is a year younger than Chase, and he just physically does not have the arm. He could not make the throw from behind the plate to second without it rolling to second base, which meant that every time there was a runner on first, unless it was a really big runner, they knew they could steal second, and they did it all the time. I asked the assistant coach if they track how many runs were scored on errors, because I wasn't at every game. I was at every game that Chase could have played in. But the games that I went to, at least half of the runs were scored from wild pitches and the catcher not blocking it and giving up runs. I asked Chase if his coaches had seen him make the throw from behind home plate to second base, and he said that they didn't. They didn't evaluate his skills and determine him to be the weaker player and didn't play him at all. A kid that has one dream in life and going to a school where it's supposed to be about the boy. I am livid that this coach tarnished the one thing that was important to Chase. I have a meeting with the school this week to talk about it, but it's too late for them to do anything to help Chase. When I was younger, I had an English teacher who killed my confidence in writing and communication in general. This teacher impacted me more than any other teacher. And I had great teachers, but this one terrible teacher who went out of her way to tear me down impacted me to this day. And seeing somebody do it to my son makes me incredibly angry. And it has really consumed all of my thoughts over the last week. When I sent Chase out of district, I wanted him to avoid what I went through. I know I was a pain in the ass in middle school and high school. But even years later, and knowing that it was not my writing, but me that teacher didn't like, it still had an effect on me. It still affects me to this day. If I didn't live by the motto of get comfortable with the uncomfortable, I would not be doing any of this. Teachers have such an impact on students. And never in my wildest dreams did I think that the school that puts the boy first and whose mission is to instill the values that create future leaders in a just society, that this would happen to my son there. My high school English teacher ruined my confidence in language, a subject I wasn't particularly drawn to anyways. But this guy is ruining something that Chase loves, and that is absolutely driving me crazy. But this experience is ruining the one thing that Chase loves. And as a mom, I am furious. As an adult, looking back on my freshman year, if that teacher only knew what I was dealing with at that time, if she knew all of the things that I had gone through leading up to her class, I wonder if she would have hated me. I don't know. I had to come into school after the worst night of my life. with marks all over my neck that were not put there consensually, and had kids start calling me Hordana. The next year, I went into sophomore Spanish class, and on the very first day, the teacher goes around and is giving Spanish names for everybody. And she said that the Spanish equivalent of Jordana would be Hordana, but then we'd have to call you a whore for short. And I went off on her. Completely went off on her. And I ended up getting sent to the principal's office because of the language that I used. And when my mom was called, my mom sided with me. And she didn't think that there was any reason to make that comment about a high school girl in front of an entire class. Neither one of them knew why, that particular comment was so triggering for me. That teacher, not only did she apologize to me in person, she wrote me a really nice apology. Look, teachers, like anybody, make mistakes, and I'm sure that she was just trying to, be a cool teacher and whatever. She could have hated me and made my life difficult for getting her chewed out by both a student in front of her entire class and a parent on the very first day of school. But she didn't. And in fact, I had a good relationship with her. And after 3 years of taking Spanish 1, I completed Spanish 2 in 1 year. I had a good relationship with that teacher. It's that one bad one that overshadows so many good ones. And it's messed up, I know, but it's the truth. And what I just found out yesterday with the younger brother of this coach was in the group of kids that did not make my high school years fun ones. His younger brother was certainly not the ringleader, and I saw him again after a decade, and he seemed like a cool guy. I know high schoolers do stupid things, but it all just kind of comes together in a really weird way. And that has just consumed my thoughts. And how do I get Chase not to give up the one thing that he loves? How do I get this not to impact a kid that has only ever wanted to play for the Yankees? What do I do about school for him for next year? Does this school really put the boy first? Is it just written, but the actions taken tell a different story? I don't know. These are the moments. These are those pivotal moments. And I don't know what I can do as a mom right now. I'm talking to the school on Wednesday to share how disappointed I am that this happened there. You've got a school who says that you put the boy first, and you've got a boy who has done nothing but dream of baseball as his future, and you did not play him a single inning the entire season. And what makes it worse is that you told him it was because he was inferior to this other kid who happened to be your son. And I hate to make it about skill and talent, because I don't think I think that at this level, if you have two catchers, they both should have played some. But you designated a starting catcher because you didn't play him at all. You didn't give him the opportunity to prove himself and to prove how much better he was. And I'm not saying that Chase is going to play for the Yankees. Very unlikely he will play for the Yankees. What I am saying is that he can make the critical throw from behind the plate to second base. He can hit the ball. He can block the pitches. Maybe not all of them, but certainly more than the coach's son. At one point, it became clear that he wasn't going to play Chase because then it would show the rest of the parents that there was actually a kid who could play the position that was overlooked the entire season for the coach's son. And he doubled down on that decision because I emailed the school and carbon copied him on an email. So this coach knew how important baseball was to Chase and how upset I was that he did not get a single inning playtime. And the coach doubled down on that decision when he didn't play Chase at all in the final game. I had also sent in that email a video of Chase overthrowing second, specifically so he could show his arm and his arm strength. Chase said that diamond was smaller than the diamond at school. I couldn't tell by the naked eye if that was the case, but Chase could overthrow and end up in the outfield where the coach's son could not make the throw to second. So throughout the entire season, from first base to second base just got stolen. So not only are you telling my son, who all he cares about is baseball, you're telling him he's inferior to this kid. And that, I know that shouldn't be the focus, but you have to understand how that has to make him feel. I knew that it wasn't my writing that my English teacher hated. I knew it was me. And look, I was a pain in the ass, so I get it. But I had a friend who got great grades in her class write an essay of mine to prove that I could not get a good grade in her class, and I still got a terrible grade on it. So I knew that it wasn't me, just like Chase knows that it's not him. But how do I get this not to destroy the one thing that Chase loves and cares about? And that's where my mind's been at this week. I do want to say how proud I am of Chase, though. When the team was playing, all the backups, actually most of the backups were in, so I think it was most of the starters. But they're throwing ball behind the dugout, which happens to be the parking lot. And then they start hitting the ball and catching it. And Chase tells them, hey, we should probably back up so we don't hit any of these cars. And his teammates laughed and said something along the lines of, it's a park at your own risk kind of place. But still, Chase got them to move. It wasn't, it was probably about 12 feet. Still could have probably hit some cars. But he's got a good head on his shoulders. And he's not scared to speak up when even his friends are doing something that's just stupid. And that's hard. Chase's old teachers, they used to call him the class mediator. And he is just so great at taking any group of people, making them chill. He just wants everybody to get along. He's a great teammate, will cheer on anybody. Let's stop focusing on the areas that our kids need to improve on and start supporting them in the areas that they excel. I wish that there was a school that it was all group work, where they took a kid who excelled at math and a kid who excelled at science and a kid who excelled at social studies and English, and they put them all together. And they were graded as a group. Maybe people switch up to different groups and have to rate each other or whatever. But that would be better preparation for the future. This week has just been a mind and a lot of old memories came back. So we'll see how the meeting with the school goes. For me, it's hard for me not to say you do this to a kid once. I think that's too much for a teacher, but I do struggle with the English teacher from hell, who was also the reason why one of my best friends got into Harvard and did and continues to do great things. So right now my focus is on how can we build this kid up? And how do we not let this destroy the one thing that he loved? So that's it for this week's episode. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
Keiko, the social app. K-A-K-O. Keiko, the social app. K-A-K-O. Keiko, the social app. Keiko rules. Keiko, the social app. Billionaire greed? Keiko, the social app. Destroying America. Keiko, the social app. T-minus 7 years and counting. Keiko, the social app.